Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Broncos country, buckle up, because we've got a story that's got the entire fan base buzzing, a few rival fans quietly panicking, and one Denver head coach fighting his own competitive instincts for the good of the team. This is the kind of news that separates the franchises that are serious about winning a Super Bowl from the ones just playing dress up in September. And buried inside it is a receipt, a 2.5-year-old receipt, that is finally, gloriously coming due. Let's get into it. Before we dive in, if you're new around here, smash that like button and hit subscribe because we are closing in on a goal I've been chasing for a long time, and every single one of you helps get us there. All right, let's dive in. If you haven't heard by now, Bo Nix will not be taking the field Friday night when the Broncos kick off their preseason slate against the Atlanta Falcons. It's official. Head coach Sean Payton confirmed it himself, and within minutes the group chats lit up. If you're plugged into any fantasy football circles the way I am, you already know what happened next. The Chiefs fans, the Bills fans, all of the outsiders who love nothing more than to find a crack in Denver's armor came crawling out of the woodwork with the same tired take. See, Nix isn't ready. That ankle must be worse than Payton's letting on. Except that take is dead wrong, and here's why sitting Nix on Friday is actually one of the smartest. Most disciplined decisions Sean Payton has made all offseason, even though it goes against every competitive bone in his body. Payton has made no secret of wanting a victory lap moment. He's been saying all camp that Nix would be full go for week 1, and there's a part of him that would love nothing more than to trot his franchise quarterback out onto that field Friday night and say, "Told you so." But that's not what's happening. And it's not happening for reasons that have nothing to do with his ankle actually being unhealthy. In fact, you can rest easy knowing Nix is in great shape, because the tell is right there in how Denver is handling this trip. Any player who is genuinely banged up or dealing with real injury concerns is staying home in Denver this week. There is zero reason to load guys who aren't fully healthy onto multiple flights, drag them across time zones, and put them through a physical grind for a meaningless exhibition game. And yet Nix is making the trip. He's traveling with the team. He'll be right there on the sideline in his sweats, plugged in and locked in with his teammates. The Broncos' own PR team has been clear that this decision has nothing to do with any lingering injury concern. So why sit him? A couple of very real, very practical reasons. First, this game is being played on turf. And anyone who has followed the NFL closely knows there is a disproportionate rate of injuries and re-injuries that happen on artificial surfaces compared to grass. Second, and this is the wrinkle that's flying a little under the radar, Denver's center situation is banged up heading into this game. With questions at the position behind the starters, throwing your franchise quarterback out there behind unproven protection on unforgiving turf just to make a point isn't coaching, it's ego. And Sean Payton, credit where it's due, put the team above his own pride here. Nix will be back under center for the next 2 preseason games at home, and there is no reason for concern whatsoever. Anyone who has actually been out at training camp watching this team operate, rather than doom-scrolling for headlines, knows that Nix isn't just back to where he was. He's sharper in certain areas than he's ever looked in his 2 previous training camps. That's not homerism, that's what people who are actually there are saying on the record. And speaking of good news, JK, Dobbins has been back at practice, working his way through recovery from that foot injury. Whether he actually suits up Friday remains to be seen, and frankly, there's no reason to rush a guy coming off a foot issue onto turf in a game that means nothing in the standings. We'll be watching closely to see how that plays out, but early signs are encouraging. Now let's talk about the first official depth chart of the year. Because Broncos country, this is where things get spicy. If you've followed Sean Payton's career at all, you know he has one quirk that shows up every single year without fail. Every rookie, no matter how talented, gets buried at the bottom of the depth chart at their position. It's not disrespect, it's philosophy. Payton doesn't want a young player showing up to the building thinking anything was handed to him because of where he was drafted. Remember, Bo Nix himself was listed dead last on the quarterback depth chart as a rookie, and everybody with a microphone and zero patience used that as ammunition to trash him. We all know how that turned out. This year, it's the same story with the running backs. Jonah Coleman, who has been turning heads all camp and has genuinely impressed the coaching staff, is technically listed behind several other backs on the chart. Don't let that fool you. Nobody in that building actually believes that's how the room will shake out once games start to matter. The tight end room tells a similar story, with a few of the newer names sitting lower than their actual role probably deserves. This is Payton being Payton. Watch the next depth chart, not this one, if you want the real picture. But here's the real headline hiding in plain sight on offense. Marvin Mims Jr. is in the starting rotation. Let that sink in for a second, because for an entire year, national analysts and even some so-called insiders were floating trade rumors about Mims, insisting Denver was ready to ship him out. Well, Sean Payton just answered that speculation the only way that matters, with actual roster construction. Courtland Sutton, Jalen Waddle, and Marvin Mims are your top three receivers, full stop. Mims has balled out all camp, and this isn't some conspiracy to inflate his trade value before a deadline deal, because that's simply not how this coaching staff operates. If anything, elevating Mims like this sends a message to the receivers behind him that production gets rewarded here in Denver. Mims has been Denver's most versatile weapon for years now. A dangerous punt returner, a dangerous kick returner, and a guy who shows up when his number is called. This is a receiver room that is absolutely loaded, and it's no surprise the rest of the league is starting to take notice. On the defensive side, a few nuggets worth flagging. Denver's newest additions to the front seven are, predictably, listed at the back of their position groups, true to the Payton rookie rule. Expect some of those names to climb quickly once padded practices and real reps start separating the pack. The most notable storyline defensively is who steps into the vacated starting role up front after John Franklin Myers departed in free agency. Right now, that job is going to Malcolm Roach, a name that shouldn't shock anyone who has been paying attention to the post-practice press conferences throughout camp. There were a couple of surprises further down the chart too, with some of the more hyped-up names in the linebacker room not sitting quite as high as fans expected. Camp battles are still very much alive at several spots on this defense, and the coming weeks will tell the real story. Elsewhere on the chart, it's no surprise that R.J. Harvey slots in as the primary backup to J.K. Dobbins in the backfield. And over at tight end, Evan Engram taking the top spot over the rest of that crowded room raised a few eyebrows around the league. But not for anyone who caught Bo Nix's press conference a few days back. Nix specifically pointed to Engram getting a much bigger role in this offense this season, not just lining up as a glorified receiver on the perimeter, but becoming a real focal point of the passing game. Sounds like Denver has plans for him. Now here's the part of this story that should give every single person in Broncos country chills. Rewind 2.5 years to draft night, when 4 quarterbacks came off the board before Bo Nix's name was ever called. Sean Payton, in what remains one of the boldest victory laps in recent memory, got on the phone with Pat McAfee before the round had even wrapped and made it clear he was thrilled with how things played out. In the press conference that followed, Payton openly admitted he had baited the Minnesota Vikings into trading up for J.J. McCarthy. At the time, that loaded quarterback class included Drake May, Jaden Daniels, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., and Bo Nix. The prediction on this channel back then was simple. In 5 years, Denver would end up with the best quarterback out of that entire class. Broncos country, that prediction is starting to look less like a hot take and more like a lock. Just this week, ESPN insider Adam Schefter dropped a bombshell on the J.J. McCarthy situation in Minnesota, saying flatly that it certainly feels like his days with the Vikings are numbered after the team named Kyler Murray their starting quarterback. McCarthy is reportedly not taking the news well behind the scenes, and while insiders are divided on whether an actual trade materializes this season or further down the road, the writing appears to be on the wall for the former first-round pick. Meanwhile, advanced metrics on quarterback accuracy from this past season paint an ugly picture for several of the passers drafted ahead of Nix. McCarthy landed near the very bottom of that accuracy list. Michael Penix Jr. wasn't far behind him, and with Atlanta reportedly naming Kirk Cousins' replacement competition still unsettled heading into Friday's game, Penix's own grip on that starting job may not be as secure as Falcons fans would like to believe. And meanwhile, back in Denver, Bo Nix isn't just healthy, he's putting together a resume that's starting to separate him from that entire draft class. He's the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 2 touchdowns and rush for 2 touchdowns in a single quarter, a feat he pulled off last season against the Giants. He's the only quarterback in league history to post 20-plus wins, 7,500 passing yards, and 50 touchdowns through his first 2 professional seasons. This is a quarterback who led Denver to a 15-win regular season, and Sean Payton himself has said publicly that this current roster is even better than the one that accomplished that. That should have every single person in Broncos country fired up, because the talent is undeniable and the culture inside that building is undeniable right alongside it. And that culture shows up in the smallest details. The kind that don't always make headlines but tell you everything about who this team really is. National media has been gushing over how good rookie Pat Bryant has looked in camp, with analysts around the league suddenly telling people to scoop him up in fantasy leagues. Some of us didn't need convincing. We were already on that train the moment Sean Payton spoke glowingly about Bryant right after Denver drafted him. And instead of any hint of a rivalry between Bryant and a proven veteran like Jalen Waddle, what have we seen? Waddle going out of his way in interviews to praise Marvin Mims and call him a difference maker on this offense. Waddle reposting Bryant's content with a simple caption: "The truth." That's not manufactured chemistry, Broncos country. That's a locker room that genuinely believes in each other. So yes, you won't get to see Bo Nix take a single snap Friday night against Atlanta. But make no mistake, this is a team that is loaded with talent, stacked with culture, and building towards something special that should carry Denver all the way into February. This is a Broncos team worth every bit of your excitement heading into this season. If this breakdown got you fired up for Friday night and for this Broncos season, do me a favor. Smash that like button, drop a comment letting me know what you're most excited to see from this Denver roster, and make sure you're subscribed to Broncos so you never miss a beat of Broncos coverage all season long. Broncos country, let's ride into this season together. I'll see you in the next one.